Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of ClaibsOnline.com. I'm Mike Claiborne, and with us is the great one, the awesome one. He's Earl Austin Jr., and we're going to talk a little bit about the high school scene, the college scene locally. And first of all, awesome, it's great to have you on board at ClaibsOnline.com.
It's always a pleasure to talk with you, Mike.
Well, let's talk about your venture because while you're talking to us today, you got something that I want people, our viewers, our listeners, to be able to follow you on a regular basis because you are just a bastion of information, and you how you get it all out there is amazing. And for people who follow the local scene and even the national scene, tell us a little bit of how your venture works and how they can get on board.
Okay, well, my main venture obviously is the St. Louis American newspaper, which you can read every Thursday, stlamerican.com. My personal venture is a social media venture called the Earl Time Update, which is a social media network. The name came from one of my nephews, Robin Thompson, who's a marketing major and marketing professional now in his early 20s. And he kind of got an old sports writer that told him, "Earl, you need to get in, kind of get with the times here in terms of social media, and this is where it's at and everything."
Put that flip phone down. Get you
Yeah.
a real phone. Yeah, okay, I got you.
So what I do is basically with my phone or iPad or whatever, I go out to different high school sporting events, and usually people know me going for football and basketball, but I go out to different. It could be tennis, it could be softball, soccer, and just kind of do highlights of the games and highlight the kids. And then I interview all the kids at the end of the game and interview 4 or 5 different kids. And I think the feature of it is you interview kids in sports that normally don't get that kind of exposure, maybe in the newspaper, but being interviewed. And I put it on my Twitter account at Earl Austin Jr. And then it grew, it just kept growing. 2019, 2020, I had to shut it down for a little bit because of COVID, but a lot of people really enjoyed it. And then I got to the point where I was doing play-by-play of games, some basketball, some softball, even water polo. Just it's a lot of fun. It kind of was a good change of pace to go out and see a lot of different kids in a lot of different sports as well and bring exposure to them.
I had a chance to catch this weekend's edition, and one of the things that I was impressed with is the composure these young athletes have with regard to being interviewed. And I think if you go back to when I was growing up, and certainly when you were growing up, I'm not sure if we were as eloquent as some of these young people are. And maybe it's the fact that they see so many other athletes now. They're a lot more composed than maybe what we would have been.
I think so, and I think social media has a lot to do with it because all of these young people, they are on their own platform. They have their own YouTube page. They're on TikTok. They're on. I don't know what the latest young what they're doing, but they're performing. They're talking. They're making their own videos, and they're presenting themselves, telling their own stories. So when I show up and with a phone, microphone, and everything, it's nothing to them to just go ahead and talk for a few minutes. Like I said, I'm 17 or 18. I'm like,
Exactly. Yeah, I'm trying to put two sentences
try to put
together,
with these
and
kids.
these guys can recite everything.
Yeah, I'm interviewing freshmen, sophomores. It doesn't matter, seniors, and it's a lot of fun.
All right, how many years now for you in the business?
36. So
36.
36
All
these
right,
days.
you've been there for a while.
Been a minute.
All right, hey, let's talk a little bit about the high school scene on the football front because that's new and improved, and kids are back on the field. Unfortunately, though, I saw where Roosevelt had to cancel because of COVID and so many kids being positive. But on the big school front, we got some pretty good games, and I love the fact that the good schools are playing each other. Remember, there was a time when they would duck this team or duck that team, and I got to give Darren Sunkert and Carl Reed a lot of credit, and some of the other schools around town that are saying, "Yeah, we'll play them," because. And the reason why I bring that up is because the ABC conference, which I think is an embarrassment, when Lutheran North was steamrolling through schools, and they would rather take a forfeit than play, and they in all the years of that conference being around when Burroughs and some of the other schools were really, really good and they were pounding schools, nobody had an issue about it. But when Lutheran North started pouring it on, then all of a sudden, oh, we got the flu or we can't play or this or that. I'm glad to see that these coaches, the good coaches, the credible ones, are still finding a way to play each other.
It is. It's been great, and like you say, CBC and East excuse me, East St. Louis played a great game last week, and I think one of the main reasons back when we were in high school, you way the playoff system was set up, you couldn't afford to lose a game, or else
Yeah,
you had
they
that.
had the point system back then.
And you lose a game, there are teams that go undefeated if they have the points. You didn't make the playoffs, but now,
Well, I'll give you a good example. 1975, Vianney Golden Griffins. They were 11-0 and nowhere to go.
yeah,
And that next year, they went to Jeff City and took on the state champions and wore them out.
yeah.
So you're exactly right.
So
And they
now,
changed the point system, which is I think it's more fair at
yeah,
this point.
but what they do is now it's in district play, and it's just like basketball or any other sport. At the end of the season, they're in districts, and then you're all 0-0 again. So the main thing, you want to be healthy at district time. But what it does is that you can go out, and the top teams can go out and play each other without worrying about, will I qualify for the playoffs. So you can
Yeah.
be where you're at, and then you can schedule aggressively. Like, not only is East St. Louis played CBC and DeSmet, but they're playing IMG, they're playing John Bosco out of California, two nationally top 5, top 10 perennial powers. And teams that they're doing that, and CBC, like I said, they're playing each other. And I think it's just good for St. Louis football, because these kids are being recruited nationwide. They're going on these 7-on-7s. They're making big names for themselves. We even got an ESPN game a few years ago with the Smet and CBC. So it's all good. It's like that on the small school level too, with MICDS, St. Mary's, Lutheran North. Has been very good. So it's just the exposure for, and you've been around high school football. We've had great football talent in this area for decades and decades, generations. But it's to see it being recognized on the national level every year is
Well, it seems like it's more spread out too. I
yes,
mean, uh, after the demise of the PHL, we started to see it spread out. There's some good programs in St. Charles County. I mean, all over the area. There's more than one good team in every conference now.
yeah, like the Southwestern Conference. East St. Louis has always been down at national, but O'Fallon is really good. Edwardsville's been a power for a long time. Back when I was in high school, the Suburban North Conference, dominant conference. Now it's the Metro Catholic Conference, CBC, DeSmet, Chaminade. Vianney won a couple of state championships, SLU. And as you said, St. Charles County, Fort Zumwalt North, and Francis Howell, who I'm going to go see Friday night. They've been perennial winners at the big.
Francis Howell, Jude James, remember that name,
Yeah,
and his brother Gabe, who
yes.
was at Edwardsville, is over there playing now.
I'll see them tomorrow night, and that's a great matchup. Two great programs in that St. Charles area, constant winner. So to see, like you said, all over the metro area, whether it's North County, South County, the city, Jefferson County, Festus is really good. You're going to see outstanding talent being spread out. It makes for more, and then you see the usual suspects once playoff time. You see the usual names, but you see talent popping up everywhere.
All right, give me some heads up on some good games we know about Eastside and the Smet. Give me some other games that people should be paying attention to that you'll be able to present to them later.
Oh, well, like I said, tomorrow I'll be at Francis Howell. They'll be hosting Fort Zumwalt North. On Saturday afternoon at Gateway STEM, we're going to be watching Vashon High School against Vianney. Now, Vashon is going to be probably the top team of the Public High League, and they have a chance to make a lot of noise this year in football. Normally, you hear about them in basketball, but they're going to be very good in football. I believe they got a big line, a lot of speed, a lot of talent, and I think they have a chance to be very good this year. So I'm going to check them out on Saturday afternoon. And then, of course, I'll be at East St. Louis on Saturday evening against a very good the SMET team. If you're in the Rockwood School District, there's a big game. Eureka will be playing Marquette High School, and those are two teams, large schools that have been very good programs, consistently putting out winning product. And those Rockwood teams, when they face each other, it's a good atmosphere as well. And if I wasn't in St. Charles, that's where I would be at that game.
And Sunday, you'll have your feet in a bucket of ice trying to rest from and recover from all these games you've had a chance to go see. Not to mention a practice or two of somebody else. Man, I love it, man. It's great to have you involved in keeping everybody informed as far as our local athletes are concerned. So again, where can they find you? Because it's going to kick off tomorrow. So people who can't make the games but want to be updated and want to be informed on how things shook out, give me that site again. Give me the information so everybody can keep track of Earl Time.
Earl Time update. That's on my Twitter account at Earl Austin Jr. Just highlights and interviews after the game, and folks want to sponsor the Earl Time update. We have schools coming on board all the time, and then on Thursdays, the St. Louis American or stlamerican.com. You can read about it on Thursdays online or in the paper.
He is the awesome one. As Rick Wallace once said, the kid's got game. Earl knows his name, folks. And I'll always remember that. The awesome one, Earl Austin Jr. It's been a pleasure to have you part of sports, doing your sports thing here at claibsonline.com. And I look forward to talking to you down the road.
Michael, thank you very much always for the support.
He's the awesome one, Earl Austin. I'm Mike Claiborne. Of course, this is claibsonline.com.